A big hello and a very warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. Today, the duo that I'm going to be engaging in a conversation with have kicked up a storm when one talks of digital news, especially vernacular news. I'm talking about the news aggregator application Dailyhunt that provides local language content in 14 Indian languages from multiple content providers. Today's guests are Virendra Gupta and Umang Bedi, the founder and co-founder of Dailyhunt and the short-form video app Josh. The company's mission is to empower 1 billion Indians to discover, consume, socialize with content that informs, enriches, and entertains. Well, without further ado, let me welcome my guests. Thank you, Umang. Thank you, Viru. Truly a pleasure having you on Brand Equity.
Thanks, Sonali. It's a pleasure for us to be here, and thank you very much for having us.
I'm first curious to understand from both of you how Dailyhunt has performed over the pandemic. News per se, of course, had an advantage apart from print. We saw TV news do very well, digital news as well. And the interest in news per se was mammoth. So, of course, the news genre gained. But specifically, when I talk about Dailyhunt, how has been the pandemic experience for you?
I think on one hand, we are very empathetic towards just the impact that the pandemic has had on the world at large. And it's very humbling in ways to see how people have been affected. And, it's very, very heart-wrenching on one side out there. On the other side, I think we have been net beneficiaries of the digital boom that has got empowered fundamentally for three reasons. One, 9 out of the 10 new users who are coming online every day are local language audiences. Two, they find us present on all the devices that they come on. So, we have partnered with every single device manufacturer to ensure that we are embedded on their phones. We power their -1 screens with content discovery widgets. We also power their browsers with content such that there is discoverability for that app. And third is just relevance. And I think relevance for us is a two-pronged strategy. One, as you said, we're a local language content destination. But fundamentally, one, you're right, news cycles have been up. But there's a lot of work that we've done, especially on a hyper-local level. And what that has done is really working with district administration, state administration, national administration to ensure that we get the latest and greatest content out there. In terms of the most updated numbers, the most updated helplines, where people can go for help, so on and so forth, in local languages, right? Now, you take the combination of those three input variables, they become very, very strong vectors for growth. With content, time spent, engagement, retention, all of this being at their maximum levels, we believe that we've had a massive swing in monetization as well. We're on a path this year of getting to $200 million of analyzed recurring revenue in the business. We changed the name of the product from Dailyhunt to Daily Home for 9 months, just to encourage people to stay at home. So it was literally the brand became the message.
Let's talk about monetization for a bit. You talked about how your monetization strategy is also benefited quite significantly just because of the spike we saw in interest, within the news genre, and specifically talking about Dailyhunt. What have been the models, different types of revenue models you have followed within Dailyhunt? I want to move to Josh a little later as a separate conversation.
In Dailyhunt, all our revenue has been advertising-led, right? However, the models have evolved over time. And so we were largely a brand destination. We now are a pretty solid performance destination as well, right? Nearly half our revenues come around performance businesses with multiple objectives other than brand, which is more like reach and frequency, down to leads, installs, so on and so forth, right? And you'd notice that in the nature of the advertising on the platform as well. That was really empowered and enabled with trust and transparency with advertisers, with integration with their data. such that we could do the right level of retargeting. The second complexion that has really changed in the last couple of years since we met, Sonali, I think a year and a half, has been our focus on small businesses. Small businesses now form a very significant part of our focus and our book. We've got teams that are spread across, over 100 cities in terms of reach, partners that we work with across these 100 cities. And with the hyperlocal focus, the SMB part of the business has also become very, very significant. But given that and the local language focus, it kind of became a natural progression to serve small businesses that really are the backbone of the economy in so many ways.
Pretty much what Facebook is doing as well, to a large extent.
I think you could say that. However, I think the Facebook focus has been largely on tier 1 cities.
Right.
Our focus has been on tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 kind of cities, right? So it's a different TG. The model that you referenced is more a do-it-yourself model in terms of a self-serve platform. We built out our advertising tech for an auction engine for performance maximization and a self-serve model as well. However, what we've added is an interesting dimension around a do-it-for-me model. And so it's an assisted model where we work with small businesses. We help them with their creatives. We help them with their language translations and really empower them, because not all of them are very digitally savvy. And I think that's a subtle difference, but a key one.
When you talk about revenue, and I understand it's advertising led so far, is there any thought, within the organization at this point between both of you to also give the option to have a subscription model? Or do you think we're a long way off before we actually are a paying economy when it comes to, news or entertainment, because we largely like it free?
I think in India now, nothing is long away, honestly, right? Mm-hmm. I think we are presently getting surprised by the adoption by consumers into things which we saw could only happen in West. We believe long term, yes, there will be people paying for the content, but people will pay for quality content. And I think, there will be an ecosystem which will evolve around quality content, around niche areas coming out and people paying for it. By the way, if you recollect in 2014-15, we had a service called ebooks, where you could, buy books at 5 rupees, 10 rupees of local language authors and read on it. So we had pioneered this out and piloted it out long back, even before the market was ready. So in terms of tech chops and platform, we are ready. I think we'll be testing some waters out and see how it goes. But happy to ride this wave as it comes through.
How did the digital genre do? I know the digital genre, by all the reports that have come in from media agencies, show that digital grew the fastest and the highest, but also the base is much smaller. So obviously TV was the biggest winner, but how has that trend continued into 2021? And how do you see the future, in a post-COVID world?
Very clear. So a couple of things, right? I think digital was initially forecasted to grow at about 35%. And it grew, I think, around, different reports have this in a range of about 12 to 15%, right? Overall for that year, per se. However, I think the sign of times to come is clear. The world has adopted digital, whether it is for education, for healthcare, for different use cases, entertainment. I believe the phenomena that has played out on the AdX in all developed markets, whether it's the US or Australia or Japan 5 years ago, and if you look at the overall AdX globally, digital has now emerged as the number one player. So I believe that we are headed in that direction, and that compounding, of course, will take 2 or 3 years. But it's a sign of times to come.
Now, coming to Josh, which was launched during the pandemic, and just for the uninitiated, it's the streaming platform for short videos. It was launched at an opportune time when TikTok was banned, and it had also become a rage in India. But having said that, Josh was launched, but you also had behemoths who didn't want to be left out. So you had Facebook launching Reels, you have YouTube doing Shorts, and you have a host of Indian homegrown players who've also jumped onto the bandwagon. My question is first quite fundamental in terms of the strategy behind it. Why did you think that a streaming app, short video streaming app, was a profitable space to enter, given the kind of clutter we're seeing with homegrown, and of course the boys with the big bucks who are all in. And we also don't know the fate of TikTok as of now, but let's assume that they're not there for a bit. Why do you think that was an opportune investment?
Our strategy is very simple. We want to own the mind share, the time share, and eventually the revenue share of local language audiences serving 1 billion people, like you highlighted, across a family of apps, right? And so when you think about the overall big picture strategy, if you have the ability to serve even half or more of the 1 billion people, more than 500 million people who come back to your platform every day, and you build the right level of AI to drive personalization and retention, you now have the ability to monetize these family of apps, because you can grow time spent to well over a couple of hours in a day across a distinct app serving distinct use cases. So that was one where it fit very well into the big picture strategy. Two, when TikTok was banned, we realized and learned that the demand for TikTok is huge. It is a real business. So the number of people that were starting to search for short video was very, very large, which is why in a very short period of time, we launched the entire app and got it out there.
I think consumer decides our life every day morning, every day afternoon, whether he's going to keep our app on the phone or he's going to use our app on the phone or not. You said big players like YouTube and Facebook, they're one side of players and there are a couple of Indian players. I think right now it's a bloodbath and everybody's trying to figure out what the hell did TikTok do, right? And everybody's trying many things to figure out, including us, investment in AI, ML, in content creator ecosystem. In our view, it's a long journey. I think we got to learn every day and we got to iterate a lot. And we got to figure out the pulse of Bharat. And by the way, it's a very, very expensive business. And capital is, and any amount of capital is not enough for it. So summary, long game, you got to play to fundamentals. You got to go deep in Bharat and invoke the creativity. And on the tech side, you got to be world-class to serve the users and drive retention up. My gut feeling is, I think, in addition to the top big players of, globally big players, I think this is space of 1 or 2 players maximum in India.
Let's say I am from Middle India. I'm not, but let's assume for a minute that I am, and I'm a creator. How do I decide, and I'm making whatever my funky videos, how do I decide if I want to put it up on Josh, or I want to put it up on Chingari, or I want to put it up on Reels? I mean, do I put it up on all three? How does a creator behave? Or are you like getting in, exclusive creators to incentivize them more? I mean, how does this work?
So it's a flywheel effect of a combination of a couple of things. The first is when you look at the top 100 or 200 TikTok creators, right? From Mr. Fesu to, who has over 30 million followers on our platform, including what he has on social media. What you will find is that the top creators adopted Josh very, very quickly, right? Because we were very fast in working with them, and those are exclusive contracts, right? What that does is it brings in an inorganic flywheel of familiarity with people that you've seen on TikTok onto the platform. So that was a starting point. The second bit that creators care for is ease of creation. How amazing is your camera and your tech? The third is what value are you adding to the creator's life? doing things like Josh Academy, marrying them with experts, bringing a kid like Vijita, who came in from, I'm giving you an example, from the city of Meerut, was a Hindi rapper, and mentoring him for 2 days with Badshah, that, up-leveled his content. He went on to sing at the Josh Act concert, which we did to raise money in awareness of COVID. He went on to crack 2 music label deals, right? The fourth thing, which is very critical for a creator, is the importance of, I will put content where I get the highest engagement. And that engagement is in terms of followers and people who are liking, sharing, and commenting on the individual's content, right? That's a very big driver towards what creators choose. And given that we had exploded to become the largest platform, given that the follower base that, if you look at even the top creators in 20s to 30 million followers per profile, it's way larger than what most other platforms have seen. So all of these become a very nice flywheel that drove creators to come and adopt Josh in a big way. Now, what we've started working on is ensuring that we drive monetization for these creators. So for instance, we've worked with Amazon, we've worked with Tinder, we've worked with Big Boss, we've worked with tons of brands, Infinix, lots of mobile companies, Flipkart, wherein we create hyper-local content that's relevant via these young influencers. And whatever brand dollars come, we actually pass that on to the influencer very transparently.
All the money you've raised, right, in the last couple of years, it's a lot of money. I mean, I think your valuation now as a company stands over $1 billion.
No, so that's where you're mistaken. Earlier this year in Jan, we closed $200 million worth of capital raise from ADQ, Glade Brooks, Google, and Microsoft. And that was where we turned unicorn. In 6 months after that, we've raised another $450 million. And the company's valuation now has grown more than 2 times to nearly $3 billion.
You stand at $3 billion today.
Yes. And so it's growing very fast. You're right. There's a lot of capital that has come in. But there's a deep amount of investment that we are doing, fundamentally using that capital in 3 big areas. The first is on tech. And tech is really divided into 2 parts. One is really investing into AI/ML, world-class talent, PhDs, people from all over the world, hiring global talent in play. The second is really around, which is a part of tech as well, is our tech serving infrastructure. Because with video exploding, our big investments going on to our technology infrastructure stack, right? The second big area of investment for us is tools, right? Whether it's on the camera, whether it's on the feed, whether it's on live as a feature, a whole bunch of tools enabling that space. A third big area of investment is really around the creator and the content ecosystem. So there's a lot happening there. And what we also did announce this time around is, with this capital, we intend to do 2 more interesting things. One is broaden out monetization use cases around live streaming and potential e-commerce. And second, really drive a big focus area into M&A as well, in terms of expanding inorganically as well.
What kind of M&As are you looking at? Which areas?
So typically when we look at M&A, Sonali, we look at companies which come with specific skill set, or companies which are solving a particular problem, which is faster than us and better than us,
Sure.
Both or. Like, for example, we acquired Cognizant, which is headed by Ram Prakash, who is now heading our AI/ML lab.
Yeah.
Acquired a camera app called Webless some time back, which helped us, develop great tools. And that guy has launched the Josh Cam new app. We have acquired 3-4 more companies, which we'll be announcing very soon. But a lot of these companies are in areas which are either helping, drive retention of the product, building some core tech stacks, or helping us improve the creator's life through great camera quality, and improving the marketplace for content creators and users. So so the good thing is, I would say, given the scale we are and given the vibrant ecosystem of India, I think there are a lot of early stage and seed stage companies, entrepreneurs, which are building very interesting products. And we find it very, very exciting to work with those entrepreneurs and bring them as entrepreneurs in the company to help solve specific problems.
I think we pride ourselves with this, which is when you go on to Dailyhunt or onto Josh, what you will see is real creators. You won't see fake profiles and stuff like that. You'll see real content made from real creators and very little content that has been stolen from other global platforms, which we've seen pop up at a lot of other places. The second is on brand safety. So we've spent an inordinate amount of time in our investment in AI and then a human-led model after that, with a very deep focus on weaving out, I would say 5 to 6 varieties of content. So one is around sexual content or anything in that genre. The second is really around hate speech or anything there. The third is blood and gore, right? So several of these categories, I would encourage you to spend time on both platforms. And I hope that you will never see any of that.
How long in your journey? I know you're in the investment phase and you're very excited. There's going to be a lot of M&As and you're going to be ramping up your product and make it world class. But how long is the journey in terms of profitability for the company, both for the parent company? I
think it's very early days for short video, right? Viru said, right? I think there's a lot of investing that goes into this phase. Even if you take examples of similar platforms globally, they've been in, a couple of them have been in this business for 4 to 5 to 6 years. Before that, really, that journey turned out to be true in terms of profitability, albeit, of course, in a market where the duopoly don't exist, right? And so I think this is going to be an investing phase. I think what we feel very good about is our ability to compete with all global players. We've done that on our core business when, like Viru pointed out, Alibaba-backed UC News came in with way more capital than us and claimably way more tech chops, which was not true when it came to local language content. Same thing with NewsDog, which was Tencent-led. And so I think we've competed with the big boys. We've fought that out. And I think we have created a brand and a recognition for our core. And I think it did take time. It didn't happen overnight. And I think we're on that journey. So we're a couple of years away. It's very hard to say 2, 3, 5, Sonali, but I'm just being very honest and truthful. But we are here to play. We're not here to flirt with a 2020 match. We are here for the long test innings. And we will withstand it, come hail, rain, and storm, and keep investing into this business.
Isn't it interesting that we've seen content over the last few decades really innovate and be served in such, wonderful new ways? And we as consumers have, of course, accepted it and are relishing it. But isn't it odd that the revenue model pretty much remains the stale advertising-led model? We seem to have no real innovation there.
I would agree. In one way that it has been a very ad-led business because a lot of the traditional players or other players looked at it as a reach business, right? I think there are models that are evolving and are teaching us day on day that, hey, you could spend time tipping a creator you like, or you could spend time buying branded commodities that creator is wearing. I don't think we're there yet. And, we're not declaring success in any way. I think we've won the first leg of the race, but there's a long way to go. And it can only come with very deep innovation. And you're right, it's on content, but it's also content will evolve, right? AR, VR, all of this will take fold in the near future, but it's also to innovate very deeply on the business model, which has been a very core to our heritage as a company.
I would add one point to this, and it's a very positive point to the content business and people who are building content business, that new models evolve around the GDP of a country, right? I mean, our country still needs to move out from a normal basic economy to an consumption-oriented economy. And you will see that breakout happening very soon with the growth happening in the country. So I would say content will change everything how people do today. Content will change the way people shop, content will shape the people, creators earn money. So I think stay invested in content. Our time is come. You will see breakout happening on multiple models very soon. And you've seen this happening in other parts of the world. So it is going to happen very soon in the country as well.
Last question, if I let you go, let's talk about the family of apps currently. You have Dailyhunt, now you have Josh. What's next on the agenda? You got to tell me.
Okay. So I'll give you, we don't talk about something before it's done, honestly. I think, Josh now has a Josh Lite version. It has a Josh Cam version, Cam for anyone to be a creator. Great tools. The Lite version is for anyone who wants a very, very low memory footprint on their device. But we will shortly be introducing a third app in terms of a distinct use case. Video being centric on it. But little premature, Sonali, to talk about it.
But at least give me the genre.
2 more questions and we'll be telling you what the product name is. But we'll be coming up with the third app. It's serving a very distinct use case.
It's not in the news space.
No, not.
When can we expect this launch or this announcement?
45 days, 45 to 60 days within that time frame, definitely.
Okay, and this will be a completely new product that will add to your family of apps.
Yes, absolutely.
In the local language, customized serving space, right?
Absolutely.
Thank to our vision of serving local language users.
Yeah. Okay. It all starts with our mission statement, so we will not deviate from that.
Okay, interesting. Very curious to know what we're going to announce. But on that note, lots of power and luck to you for your innings, for your new launch, and of course, for Daily App and Josh. Lovely speaking with you, and hopefully we can do this in person when times are better.
Thank you very much.